Oh yeah, baby, we back, baby. Hold on, let me make sure you get a full shot before we even get into the drawing. Six pass dice, Mr. Lane. If you need me, you see my initials on the screen. I'm back. What's popping with the population? It's not a Stanley Cup. You don't need a Stanley Cup to be happy. Check it out. I know it's been a while. Relax, fix your face, but I'm back and I'm here. We're gonna be breaking down the whole Keith Lee. We're gonna be breaking down the whole Keith Lee versus the gynocracy and black people cosplaying as business owners and entrepreneurs. We chopping that fable. Right now, Keith Lee is exposing what the reason why we can't own businesses. One of the reasons why women need male leadership in order to come to their fullest potential. Very few women can succeed. Actually, most women that you think are pretty high up there or advanced in their profession or who know how to make money, they learned that from a man. Male leadership is needed. We got the Taraji P. Hensons of the world. You know what I mean? We got the Summer Walkers of the world. You know what I mean? Flo Joes of the world that, realize that, I'm sorry, not realize. We come to the realization like, you need male leadership. This woman right here, if she would have had a good husband next to her, that's she would have never did none of that. Honor, respect, sacrifice, discipline, order, those are male traits. Those things only happen when men are around. This woman was given simple instructions. Let's go ahead and check it out. Now, Keith Lee is a popular food blogger who's been going on tours when he's eating at black restaurants and causing all kinds of controversy because what's happening is he's exposing the fact that we don't know shit about business. We like to cosplay everything. We like to live the hip hop song or some shit. We don't want to really be a gangster. We want to rap about being a gangster, which I get, right? But everyone don't need to be in charge of nothing. Anywho, I'm gonna show you the clip so what Keith Lee usually does is that he comes to a town, he comes to a restaurant, he doesn't go inside. He has his family go inside, and then they bring the food to him. And he'll record from his car because he doesn't want any special treatment. He did the same thing in Atlanta. Now he's over here in Texas. He didn't tell Sweetly Season that he was coming. People just saw the videos online. I'm sorry. People saw that they were in Texas and people were just going live, trying to tag him and stuff like that, trying to ask him to come down. So what we're gonna see is that he came to Sweetly Season's food truck, and there was a guy out there cutting hair and somebody else out there braiding hair. Sweetly Season's food truck is basically like a barbecue joint. The food looked really good. But let's go ahead and go to that video right now, guys. 1 second. All right. Everybody wants to you $1,000. Put that here. We want to be $2,000. Yeah, that's it. So you start my car for $4,000.
As the son is misconstruing something that I said, and I don't appreciate it. After I said out loud in detail what we deem the money to be used towards, I also said y'all can divvy it out how y'all feel necessary. Meaning, after the money hits, because it's a POS system, it's Zelle, through Cash App, through check, through cash, however y'all feel necessary to spread it amongst the team. I thought and I still think that that's a very clear statement, but it's being misconstrued, in my opinion, intentionally misconstrued.
So Keith Lee did tell her to distribute the money how she felt necessary.
I never said that. It felt on my heart to do what we did. So for the mom to go on the back end and disregard where my heart was at and what I felt like God was telling me to do in that moment and distribute the money how she felt necessary is 100% wrong in my opinion. 3 days ago, me and my family went to Sweetly Season food truck.
Okay. Let's go ahead and share. I want to share the video that. So I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and just touch on it. Let's make sure we're very clear on the storyline. So what you're seeing is right. He gave her specific instructions. He did not have to. If he would have just came, bought some food, and left, and people now know about Sweetly Seasoned food truck because of him, that would have been enough. Okay, but no, I'm sorry. Instead, the big homie come through and give you several racks. He didn't tip you $5. He didn't tip you $1. He tipped you $2,000. Said, give my man over there a rack so he can do free haircuts. Give homegirl over there a rack so she can keep braiding hair for free. Oh, you know what I mean? And what else? Oh. And then he gave her $800 more, right? To give out free food until she closes. Now, I don't want to play other people's videos and whatnot. But there was a girl on the truck with her who was basically also a TikToker, and her brother was the one that was cutting hair, and she was helping her out on the food truck that day. So she was there, and the young lady said that the food truck owner stopped as soon as Keith Lee left. She stopped giving out free food and started charging people again. So she pocketed a lot of that money. So I'm gonna get into my theories and my thoughts on it in a minute. I just want to go ahead and show you old girl, and we're gonna go ahead and chop that fable too. Hold on, man. Let me go ahead and find that joint for you. I'm gonna let a little bit of it play. I'm gonna jump around.
Keith Lee. But I want to give a shout out to her anyway. To the nitty gritty. And my son called this guy, I guess that's her brother. I didn't know him, never seen him, to come cut his hair. And he came out there to cut his hair. He plugged his thing into my generator and he cut his hair. I'm in the food truck. I'm going crazy because I know he's coming. And I'm trying to get, so I'm not fully aware of what's going on outside, y'all. So next thing I know, I see a girl running and Sherelle running, and they hug, and I'm like, who is that? Come find out she was supposed to have been braiding no girl hair, but she told her to come out there because she didn't want to miss Keith Lee. So when Keith Lee did arrive, it looked as if they were with me, and it was doing free.
Okay, goodness gracious. Sorry, y'all. You know what? That's kind of all we need, to be real with you. That's really all we needed. That's all we needed. Let me see. I think it was one more clip I wanted to show. No, you know what? We're good. We're good. All right, check it out, man. There's several things to get into here. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing and whatnot. There's several things that we gotta touch on. Okay. All right. I want y'all to try and walk with me. Okay. All right. So the lady from the food truck incident is first of all, let me tell you something. You can't look into the eyes of the B-Dub all the time and see where their heart is at. Is see where what level of compassion do they wield? You gotta look at the neck. The neck will tell you everything. Let me tell you something, you young king out there. You deserve a woman who has a neck that you can see. All right, so let's get into it. Now, know what? I'm gonna start like this. Keith Lee is exposing why black businesses don't work. Why black businesses don't turn into bigger companies and brands that expand, like, say, a Walgreens, a Walmart, or just like any business of that matter. If you think about it, right, all these big names that we know today started with one location. But under the leadership of pretty much always a man, or the male leadership, the patriarchy, right? These businesses expand to the point where you can create franchises. And the person who started that business can get paid for generations to come and not be actually working that business. Isn't that crazy, right? But we don't see that with black businesses. And it's like more and more, we're starting to get to the bottom of it, and I like it. You know how I say, nah, I don't like it. I like this. I like where we're going with this. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the middle of a black renaissance. Oh my God. Hold on, no, let me check my audio before I go any further, man. I'm not, I know I got a bad habit of, all right, cool. We on the right mic. All right, cool. I got a bad habit of being on the wrong mic. But ladies and gentlemen, we are in the midst of a fucking renaissance. Black people are waking up, and we're starting to figure out this is why it ain't been happening. This is why we are where we are, and we're right at the front door of some solutions. All right. And I think more than ever, the men are waking up. The men are taking back their power. Okay. Because the only reason why you're less, you're making yourself less so they can become more. Shout out to Rich Cooper. That's a bar, my boy. Making yourself less so they can become more. Don't do that. You're not helping anybody with that. You're lowering the bar for humanity when you do that. Because that's how we arrive at this lady with this with so much neck. She had too much neck for me. So anyway. The lady from the food truck incident is the embodiment of the matriarchal mindset, the gynocracy, if you will. This is a great example of how B-dubs are the white people of black people. Even though she was told, he didn't say it in a poem. He didn't say it in a different language. Okay, he didn't say it to someone else. He came up to her and told her, "I'm going to give you 1,000 to get to my boy right here, 1,000 to give to her. You're gonna get 2,000, and I'm gonna give you $800 more so that basically you sell your food out." I don't know how much food trucks make, but I can't imagine that a small business, a food truck, can make more than maybe a two. If you got a lot of people always coming all day long, maybe a few racks. I don't know, but I would venture that most food trucks, they might be making a few $100s a day. Because if they make it more than that, then I need to go ahead and get me a food truck. Because listen, I'm telling you right now, bro. I make a mean cheeseburger. I have me a little hipster truck. You know what I'm saying? Diced cheeseburgers. I'll be putting like weird stuff on it. You know what I'm saying? No, something funky. Mozzarella sticks. You know what I'm saying? Yuca fries. No, I'm serious. Some real possibilities. Let's go ahead and put a pin in that. Dice burgers, six pass burgers, 6 packs of burgers. Somebody in the comments help me with a name for my restaurant, for my food truck, because obviously, Anywho. So, she said instead of following his directions, she just said, "Yo, I'm gonna give now." Okay, it was a girl in the truck, right? And she said basically her son called the guy that was the barber and the girl that was on the truck with her. She said that those were her son's people, right? And rather than just follow the directions and everything, she says, "Well, she's supposed to give out $2,000. Rather than giving out $2,000, she says she's going to give it to her son." And he can distribute it how he sees fit. That's not what Keith Lee said. And okay, that's not what he said. The sense of entitlement to men's money, time, and resources is crazy. Like in her mind, she like in her mind, I don't even know if she thought it was a gift. She kept harking on the fact I played a clip from that video because I didn't. There was no need to go through the whole thing. I just want you guys to hear her delivery, how she sounds, her line of thinking, her line of thought, the lack of accountability. She left accountability behind years ago. She hasn't been accountable for a goddamn thing for at least, she definitely don't pay no parking tickets. But anywho, she kept harking on how much time she took, and I built this business up as if him coming through and blessing them was a reward or a confirmation. And I mean, don't get me wrong, in a way it was, but again, he gave you specific instructions. It doesn't matter what your history is. It doesn't matter what your reasons are. You basically just disregarded someone's instructions. And I always say, your ability to follow instructions, well, that's a huge survival skill. Black people, that's why we're not doing good. We can't thrive because our survival skills are trash. Your problem solving ability and your decision making is a huge part of your fucking survival skills. Now, for her business, right? For you to make money, you gotta be tapped in. You gotta be tapped in spiritually, because you want the money to keep coming. Black people don't think about making money forever. What's better, to make $85,000 a year consistently for 40 years, or to have a year or two where you made 200,000, but this year's where you made 20? That's what it is for. That's what it is for a business owner. Well, if their only income is that business, the best way to keep your pockets full is to keep a job and have a business and buy assets. Because that way you don't have to work for that money with hours. They'll appreciate it with time. How about that? You don't want to do that shit because you don't have no long-term thinking. You can't delay gratification. Even what I'm doing right now, mark my fucking words. I'm on some One Piece shit when it comes to this content. I'm like Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. I want to be the king of the pirates. Luffy don't even got a motivation for that shit. He just want to be the king of the pirates. I want to be the king of the content makers. I'm going to start right here. My influence will continue to reverberate. Right? But anywho, the key is longevity. And we get longevity under good leadership. Anywho, going back to her decision making, terrible survival skills. She can't even think ahead of, and again, she's in survival mode too. Because let me tell you something right now. Whenever you see an overweight person, unhealthy thoughts follow. Unhealthy people have unhealthy thoughts. I'm trying to listen. I've been fat my whole life. I went to a couple of years ago that I said, fuck this. I'm done being fat. Now, I still got mad pounds to go and whatnot, but making that decision changed everything. Whenever you see an overweight person, just know unhealthy thoughts follow. Inability to follow instructions follow. Inability to learn. She is a bad student. Given simple instructions, could not follow. Just couldn't follow them. And I think what's bigger than that is women don't understand that under like feminism. Excuse me. One of the symptoms of feminism in terms of the infection that it is that it dehumanizes men to the point where you see men along the same lines as between a pet and a car. You care about it, like, but with people's cars, for the most part, most people only take care of their car once they break it. Meaning that they're not really taking care of the car. They're not keeping it clean. They're not taking it to the car wash. They're not taking it to the mechanic as soon as it's a problem. They're not doing the maintenance on a regular basis. They're not changing the brake pads every year, changing the oil twice a year. They're not doing that stuff. Because why? Because I don't want to spend that kind of money. Because it's not important, but they'll spend money on other shit. And then when it breaks, it's like, what's going on here? Like, no, you don't take care of this shit. So the request, for the most part, again, going back to the white supremacy parallel, when we think about the Jim Crow era, when we think about just these different eras in the country in terms of the relationships between really black men and white men, in terms of how they've treated us in the past, in terms of the laws and legislation that they've had against us and whatnot, in those times and even damn near now, black men did not have any rights that a white man had to observe, but before the Civil Rights Act. So it was perfectly legal for you to put up in your store, no colored allowed. It was perfectly okay to tell someone, no, we're not accepting any Negroes to this institution at this time. That was normal, and it was okay. People like forget about that, and people also don't see the parallel between a white supremacist and how she's talking. She basically said, because again, when you see someone as a thing or basically or a pet or whatnot, you feel as basically your desires are higher than theirs, and more important than theirs are. And this is how we all become narcissists. All right. You can also become a narcissist. It's not just a disorder. I mean, like, again, there's a disorder where that person's brain is wired that way, but it's also you. Again, anytime when we live in a way where you have no gratitude, because without gratitude, you really can't enjoy life or really understand, really have any real happiness. Okay, because you can't even realize when things are going well. I practice so much gratitude. That was a huge. No, nobody come through giving her $2,000 tips, and she just said, "Fuck it." Oh well, Anywho, let's keep it rolling. Look at my notes here. So hold on, goodness, my shit's moving. So, I'm gonna start. I say, let's start here. Black men. So under so going back to the whole under this way of thinking, right? In terms of the parallels between white supremacy and how black women be treated, black men and whatnot. And I've heard Crimson Cure say this, and I think a few other content creators, they believe that black men in particular don't have any rights or beliefs or feelings or personal authority. So even though Keith Lee told her what she wanted, like I keep saying it, she decided that that doesn't matter. Because once the money hits her account, she can get away from paying anybody. I think in her mind, she's like, once the money hits my account, I don't gotta pay nobody. All right. And this is another reason why women can't be leaders. Okay. Because a woman can only make decisions for herself, and her nature is to survive by any means. Okay. And she survives mostly by hoarding resources for herself and her children. Hence why women never turn down money or turn down 4 P's. All right. Provision, protection, procreation, and problem solving. For the most part, if you think about it, those are 4 things that women will take from anywhere they can get it. Okay, for the most part, because because that's what makes her feel like she's in a relationship. That's why women a lot of times want to find a way to keep you in their life long term, or as long as they want you in their life, because you are a source of those 4 P's. Okay, so let me see where we at here. And also, I'm taking a step further, because I really been wanting to get into this conversation about how black people have a thing about cosplaying business, success, and wealthy people. And a lot of reasons why we fail is because we don't have a strong moral compass and strong values. You have to have some kind of integrity to maintain anything great, especially a business. So that means that you have to manage several personalities. You have to manage finances. You have to manage the products and services, whatever it is you're doing, right? It takes so much effort, right? And everyone has to be on the same page. But if the people who are running, who are supposed to be leading that effort, if those people feel like, well, and again, it goes back to, what is your mission? What is your mission? Why are you here? That's why a mission statement is important. Most businesses don't got no mission statement. You don't really have a mission or a reason why you're here, aside from thinking that this is a way to make some money, or an easy way to make money. And that's nothing that y'all got to stop looking for. Y'all all want an easy way to make money, or either that, or you feel entitled to success, and it's just nasty. Okay, and I gotta tell you personally, this is just how black women do business too. I experienced this firsthand with somebody who screwed me over like a few times. The first time we met or we interacted was when I was her employee. So I met her right before my son was born, and she was opening an agency, and I was basically a case manager for her. So so long story short, I started working for her and whatnot. She agreed to pay me a certain wage and agreed to start to pay me more as time went on and whatnot. And she basically kind of just reneged on the whole thing. So as time went on, she went and bought me like a whole different contract to sign, but that was saying I would get paid hourly. She basically just found a way to basically pay me a lot less, and kept arguing like, well, you're not really doing that much work. Because she would make these arguments about basically how she was talking to me as if like this was like an hourly position, and it's just white collar work. you don't treat white collar work the same way you treat work at like a grocery store and whatnot, because white collar work is not a thing where you're working an entire hour. No, you do tasks. You know what I'm saying? And and you get things done. You have certain goals and whatnot, certain objectives. That's what white collar work is. It's not something where I have to be working nonstop the whole hour. Anyway, I know it sounds crazy, but this is the kind of shit that she was doing. And she knew that I had a newborn baby at home, mad pressure on me and whatnot, and I needed that bread. And she found a way to basically screw me out of it. You know what I mean? But eventually I kind of ghosted her at that point and everything. And I kind of just stopped talking to her. And I regret handling it that way, because you shouldn't separate from people that way, and you should have a conversation with them and communicate. And I know it's easier just to say F it, but that's not. It's like, for one, you don't want people to create stories in their head about what your intentions were, because that's what happens when you don't communicate clearly and whatnot, or try to resolve the situation. You leave a question mark there, and that can cause problems in the future. And also, you're going to keep winding up in situations where you feel as though you have to go somebody, and you don't want to. I don't know. So that was my one regret. But this same person who screwed me over wound up being like one of my greatest benefits, one of my greatest blessings. You know what I mean? So in Buddhism, this is what we call changing poison in medicine. So I met her several years later. You know what I'm saying? Hold on a second. I met her several years later, and we ran to one another, and she gave me some golden advice. I told her that I have my own agency now. She said, "Listen, you need to start doing these kind of services and whatnot, because that's the big money maker and everything." And had she not told me that, I may not have been able to do it how I was doing it. You know what I mean? Actually, I made a lot of money in that field when I had an agency. But anywho, I think the bigger issue was, or I think that we need to kind of understand why women move this way. Now, you gotta understand that, all right, in particular, this was my experience with the selfishness that keeps a woman from being a good leader and making selfless decisions. Women do not want to sacrifice or feel pressure or have to take criticism. Women rather just be adored. And when you program women to go against their genetic code, all this weird shit happens. The woman I'm talking about felt completely comfortable robbing me. And, but years later, after that other time we met and everything, we actually got to be pretty cool, I thought. You know what I mean? This same person filed a false report on me and my agency to the state. Okay. And not only that, she also because we had common clients and whatnot. She actually sabotaged my business as well. And at the time, I didn't realize, cause I didn't want to admit to myself that, maybe she is trying to sabotage my business. I had a really good client, and I was very close with the family and whatnot. Then out of nowhere, they want to go with a different agency and whatnot. And I'm not gonna get too deep into everything that happened, but let me see. Hold on a second, guys. One moment. I'll end with this in terms of that situation, right? In terms of just my experience with with a black female entrepreneur or business owner and whatnot. I remember, right? I had got this feeling that she was trying to groom me to be her man. I think one thing men gotta understand that you gotta really recognize when you're dealing with a woman who's heartless, and dealing with a woman who is very self-involved and will do whatever she has to do to basically kind of look out for herself, which I knew that about her. I didn't trust her like that, but we was cool, right? What preceded all this shit was a conversation when I was with my ex at the time. And I remember me and my I call her my mentor. Me and my mentor were talking, right? And I remember I forgot what I was talking about, and she says, "Is she the one? Do you think she's the one?" And I don't think in terms of the one and stuff like that. So I think the way I was answering, I was like, nah, like what we have is better than these, like, these terms and all this other shit. And I remember she was adamant about me answering the question of, is she the one? And I'm like, I forgot what I said. I think I basically said yes. And then after that, all this stuff happened. Right. So and I came to realize that one of the reasons why she was so comfortable doing these things to me and everything. Now, mind you, she still had clients with me and still was making money off me too while she was doing this to me. Right. I realized that she was comfortable doing this because black women see black men as property and a utility. It's like when you start your car. A lot of people don't think to be grateful when they start their car. You know what I mean? Because they just feel like it's supposed to work. You know what I'm saying? But yo, listen, like that makes sense. But you can't treat people like this. You know what I'm saying? This speaks to, like, I heard the Crimson Secure had a brilliant show on. Oh, hold on. Oh, my notes, y'all. One second, y'all. The Crimson Secure had a brilliant show on the mindset of the contract versus the covenant. Basically, the covenant is the spiritual agreement that does not change over time. It's the same. You are the man, that's the wife. But women see relationships and marriages as partners, and that's how we get to the business mindset when we look at relationships. You hear people say that a marriage is a business, you know what I mean? But not really. Because listen, partners infer that it's equal liability, investment, but contract/business has nothing to do with emotion, family, commitment, empathy, and under business, we can negotiate everything, including things that may be unjust. So if it's terms and conditions, no, that might be the route to the lack of appreciation. How can you appreciate what you feel you negotiated? Like, I work places where it's like these people will be unemployable anywhere else. They make a very good wage, and they have a terrible attitude about their life or their job. I'm like, this is not a hard job. You only here 7 hours a day, and you gonna get a guaranteed paycheck. I'm tripping. Anywho, like I said, this is the route to a lack of appreciation. Because I said before, how can you appreciate what you feel as though you negotiated? But anyway, because you'll gain a sense of entitlement to an outcome, different jobs I've heard, like I said before, I hear so much complaining, right? And you gain so much more gratitude when you imagine not having a roof over your head. When you imagine not having that food you wanted, when you imagine that water not running, when you imagine them lights being off, it's humbling. It makes you nervous at first, but then you bash and realize, like, yo, I got heat in my apartment. I got electricity. I got Wi-Fi. I got Netflix. I got YouTube Premium. I got the food I want to eat. Okay, I got the food that I want to eat. Having a good time. Little herb. This is great. This is wonderful. You're so comfortable. But again, a lot of people's anguish and anger, all that stuff comes from you're not grateful for nothing. And that's my theory on why so many modern women, but black women in particular, are miserable. You got to appreciate life and be happy. Anywho, so let me get to my next point. This video, we're almost done now. This video also hit different because growing up, we all been robbed by the single mom that raised you. You know what I mean? Like, daddy come and give you some money for Christmas or your birthday. Mama come through and run interference on that bag. At that point in life, your resources are so limited. So, you know what I mean? It's limited. So it's like, this lady basically comes along, and be taking these people's Christmas and birthday money. bad behaviors beget more bad behaviors. So she been robbing her kids their Christmas money and birthday money their whole life, and she just did it here. She just said, man, listen, F them kids. And straight played Mr. Grinch on these young fine people. Let me tell you something else. Let's get into a few theories real quick. Let me see how long I've been cooking. All right, we're doing pretty good. 35 minutes, man. Let me get into a few theories on why I think she moved how she moved. First of all, yo, well, not even first of all, we have to end the video, but yo, being broke is a disease. Okay. It's hard to make the right decisions when you operating from a place of hunger and anger. You know what I'm saying? When people need money and you add the fact that their morality is low and they have no leadership, it's a recipe for disaster, especially if they're in charge of other people or got kids. This is why prosperity is a healthy thing, because it alleviates stress. Okay. One of the worst stresses is not having enough. Okay. And then the fear of not having enough, would venture that the fear of not having enough would venture that the account that money went into possibly was in the negative, and she doesn't have all that money, and she definitely be doing shady business. She listen. She might owe a nigga a few dollars or two. You know what I'm saying? I think that she be borrowing money from like a trans loan shark and everything. So she probably be she probably be on FanDuel and all that type of shit. But anyway, man, I'm just clowning. But I think the fact that she blocked her future blessings is obvious. One thing I learned as an entrepreneur and doing my thing out here is that never compromise your integrity for nothing. You never want to be on the wrong side of history when it comes to right and wrong. Right and wrong is going to always keep money in your pocket. Always do the right thing. And when we're in survival mode, it's hard to be generous in survival mode. When you're thinking, man, I need enough for myself. I need enough for me. But the more that you want to have, the more generous you got to be. I've been thinking more about that. I'm like, yo, I mean, how generous am I? How giving am I? And I am pretty giving. But it's like, I'm like, but people also fall off because they stop doing the things that made them pop to begin with. They stopped doing the things that got them to a certain point to begin with. You know what I mean? And if I'm gonna keep asking this question. I think Dr. Tiasan Johnson was the one who posed this question about what do black women owe the black community? Black men and black women, if you love black people and you love the community and you want us to do better and whatnot, we have to get together and have families, and we have to have our values and morals together. That's the only way we're going to have any momentum. We'll never be able to have no businesses. You know what I mean? If women like this think that she thinks she's running the business, and look where she is. Look how she's not able to elevate. Not able to elevate past the food truck. How you a struggling food truck? Okay, and she didn't even sound happy. She didn't even sound happy to get the money. She didn't even sound happy about it. Anywho, so that's what I got to say on the topic, man. Six Paps Dice, Mr. Lane. If you need me, man, it's your boy Six Paps Dice, and I'm out.